Irma headed on direct path to Tampa. The latest NOAA warning release has revealed that the hurricane will turn back towards the northwest, putting the major cities of Tampa and St. Petersburg in its sights. The eye of the hurricane is likely to reach the region in about 5 hours' time. However, as we reported earlier, the effects have already been felt. People in the area are also reporting that they are losing mobile phone reception and power outages appear to be spreading. Already 3.3 million people are without power, including almost 1 million in the Miami-Dade County. Earlier this morning, Fairfax U.S. correspondent Neely McCowan caught up with an Australian currently living in Orlando. Evan Foster described what it's like living in the region, with strict curfews currently in place. You are not allowed to go outside, or else you get arrested, because a lot of people have vacated their homes and relocated to schools around here. Foster said he had stocked up early before shops ran out of supplies and is expecting to be left without power for up to a week. I am expecting to lose power for 3 to 7 days, he said. Middle of the week the shops ran out of everything. I have got lots of water and a full tank of gas. We'll see what happens afterwards. This graph depicts what authorities are warning about with the storm surges. Water recedes slowly before suddenly spiking. Earlier today in Miami, officials had to urge residents to stay clear of the beach after many ventured out to investigate the abnormally low water levels. The water later returned with a number of powerful surges. From Naples earlier, went from negative surge to over 5 feet above ground level surge in 3 hours. pic.twitter.com/so72ivas, NWS Tampa Bay, at Tampa Bay September 11, 2017. Back to top. Looters arrested in Miami. Video has emerged of police arresting looters in Miami, while NBC is also reporting that a 17-year-old male was also shot by an officer. The network is reporting that almost a dozen looters have been arrested, with many caught carrying sneakers after ransacking sports shops. Going to prison over a pair of sneakers is a fairly bad life choice, Fort Lauderdale Police Chief Rick Maglione said in a statement. Stay home and look after your loved ones and be thankful they are all safe. The shooting took place in the early hours of Sunday morning, U.S. time, after a couple who had evacuated their home were alerted to a break-in via a surveillance system. Despicable. 7 News cameras caught a group of looters ransacking a Miami Foot Locker store before police arrived. pic.twitter.com/rushbulnesab, WSVN 7 News, at WSVN September 10, 2017. Bloomberg is reporting that the total number of people without power has risen to 3.3 million, while also warning that the state could see fuel shortages for an extended period of time. Hurricane Irma has knocked out power to 3.3 million customers, paralyzed tanker traffic and shut about 6,000 gasoline stations. As the storm heads up Florida's west coast, it's also threatening more than $1 billion worth of crops. Officials warned Sunday that some customers may go without power for weeks, and parts of its system may need to be rebuilt from the ground up. The company took offline one of 2 reactors at a nuclear plant south of Miami. Ports critical to supplying the state with gasoline and diesel were also closed, and energy companies including ExxonMobil Corporation and Kinder Morgan Incorporated shut fuel terminals and pipelines. Fuel deliveries in Florida are virtually non-existent, Mansfield Oil, a Georgia-based energy supplier, said in a report. Markets will take time to fully recover, particularly if Irma damages fueling infrastructure. Irma, now a Category 2 storm forecast to rake all of Florida's west coast, threatens to send natural gas futures plunging by cutting demand from power plants, and will weigh on oil and refined products prices by blocking shipments to the nation's third-largest gasoline market. The hurricane may also wreak havoc on Florida's farmlands, menacing $1.2 billion worth of production in the top U.S. grower of fresh tomatoes, oranges, green beans, cucumbers, squash and sugar cane. Citrus production is the most vulnerable of crops as Irma moves north along Florida's west coast, said Paul Markert, a meteorologist at MDA Weather Services in Gaithersburg, Maryland. About 25% of the crop may be lost. Florida's orange, grapefruit and other citrus trees are full of developing fruit that Irma may blow away. Winds could also destroy the trees themselves in a region that accounts for almost 10% of the nation's fruit and vegetable farmland. Orange juice futures and domestic sugar prices rallied last week as Irma drew closer. Meanwhile, ports and terminals including Miami, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Port Everglades and Jacksonville were closed to traffic. Florida, which depends wholly on pipelines and tankers for fuel supplies, was already facing fuel challenges after H.